Josh Freeman with an injured throwing shoulder did that the final play of the last game against the Tennessee Titans. No, that's not the Josh Johnson, the right-hander for the Marlins. That is Josh Johnson, known as Mr. Wildcat here in Tampa. He will get his 5th career start, the first of the season.
What's important for Josh Johnson today, Ron, is that he do a good job of managing the game. And you hear that, and it becomes cliche, but simply what that means is don't make mistakes. They're going to put your team in peril. He's got to make good decisions when he's got the football in his hands. He doesn't want to force throws. There's nothing wrong with throwing the ball out of bounds. So I think today, if Josh Johnson can make good decisions, if they can get the running game going with LeGarrette Blount, which they've been able to do the last couple of weeks, then I'm not sure how significant the loss of Josh Freeman is. Certainly there's something there because he's a darn good player. But I think Josh Johnson will do the things that I talked about in terms of managing the game.
Armonte Edwards back deep to receive the kick. Kealoha Polaris, not healthy, will not go today. And that's key because Polaris has had 2 big returns, one for a touchdown in the past 2 weeks. And early dividends already. Eric Lorig hustling down for the opening tackle. And a first look at the #1 overall pick, Cam Newton. You can see his stats there, but he's had a much different energy and an effect on the team.
Yeah, you know, he is certainly worthy of that Heisman Trophy and that #1 selection. You mentioned it, Ronnie, the energy, the enthusiasm that he brings to this team and this organization is just infectious. It's fun to be around this kid.
First play, a pass, knocked away. Coverage on Olsen was pretty darn good. Daquan Bowers, he dropped back and played coverage.
Well, right off the bat, you see pressure by Tampa. And, you know, when you've got athletic defensive ends like Daquan Bowers that can drop into coverage and match up onto a tight end, then that's not a bad way to attack a guy like Cam Newton, who's still in the developmental stages of his career. You know, start out with a little pressure on him. Don't let him ever get comfortable.
The give, Williams with a nice run, bouncing off of tacklers, and Williams about a yard shy of the first. Brought down by Sean Jones up front. Williams there on the carry. Steve Smith very close to going over the 10,000-yard receiving mark. We'll keep an eye on that. LaFell will start for the injured Nane.
You mentioned Steve Smith. I'm excited to see Steve Smith and Aqib Talib today. They'll be matched up most of the game one-on-one. You're going to see it here down at the bottom of your screen on this 3rd and short.
A pickup of 9 by Williams. And this is where Newton likes to run, third down situations. They bring the corner pressure. They hand it off instead. That's Stewart. Stewart with the first down, and he's still going. Stewart close to midfield. He's got the first and then some. This tackle there by Jones, but a huge run and a first by the Panthers, 19 yards.
This is what Cam Newton's used to doing. This is that leader. Watch his eyes right there. He's reading the defensive end. If the defensive end stays up the field, then he hands the ball off to Stewart, which he did right there. Nice blocking inside, and then really a nice job of balance and momentum moving forward.
Play action pass. Looking deep. Checks it underneath, and it's complete. Olsen. And Olsen is in the Bucs territory. He'll take it down to the 32-yard line. Claiborne and Bowers, the rookies outside. Big Albert Hainsworth brought in last week. He's trying to fill that void lost there when they lost Gerald McCoy. The secondary, Rondé Barber, the vet. Aqib Talib has had pretty good matchups against Steve Smith, but he's on the sideline. We'll try to get an injury update from him. Bucs bring down 8 in the box, expecting run. They get their run. Stewart trying the left side, and there goes Stewart. Stewart runs a man over, and he's down inside the 5-yard line. He ran over Tenard Jackson and kept on going. 31 yards, and the Bucs having trouble against the run already.
Ronnie, this is a common theme so far for Tampa Bay, struggling to stop the run. They're going to run this little read option again. Actually, that's more of a counter-O play there, a little less read option. But what happens when you've got a guy like Cam Newton in the backfield that presents a threat going out the other side, if you can have a great athlete, one running right, one running left, and they don't know where the ball is on defense, you can get something going like the Carolina Panthers did just there.
This is Williams. Williams takes it down to the 1. Before that play, Carolina's last 3 plays, 61 yards of total offense.
Ronnie, when you've got a threat, to go back to that last play, like Cam Newton that can run the ball, and I'll relate this back to when I coached Mike Vick. We always felt like on play action or our runs, if we could get a guy like Warwick Dunn, a great athlete, going one direction, Mike Vick going the other direction, the defense had to figure out where the ball was. That was a great deal for us. Let's watch for the quarterback lead here.
There it is, 2nd and goal, up and over. And it's a touchdown for Carolina. So Cam Newton calls his own number, gets some serious air, and maybe the Superman, there it is.
Look at the smile. I love the smile. This kid loves to play football. He loves to compete. He loves to be around his teammates. We asked him about his celebration, and he talked about it with us. I thought it was really interesting what he had to say, and we'll get into that as we go. But, you know, you look at that play right there, Ronnie, and it revealed itself early. That back was kind of pushed up ahead of the alignment of the quarterback. Indicates that, hey, they're going to take that big old Cam and fly him over the middle.
Murray is good with the extra point. 7 plays, 83 yards for the number 5 ranked offense in the NFL. He has lived up to the billing here in Tampa.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
See the drive, the 16th touchdown drive of 80 or more yards for the Panthers. That's tied with some pretty good company, the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots.
Yeah, those are a couple of pretty explosive offensive teams. We talked about go big or go home with the explosive plays, and they had 2 good explosive plays in that drive.
Strotter trying to get an explosive play for the Buccaneers in the creamsicle uniforms, the throwback, and he'll take it out to about the 23-yard line. Superman flying early here in Tampa.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Tim Crowder puts up on his feet and moving off the field. That's good news. A big man out of Texas shaken up. And Raheem Morris, 3rd season with the Bucs. You know, he's used to reloading it, going back to work early in the morning after those rough losses. They've lost 5 straight, 6 of the last 7.
Yeah, it's wearing on Raheem a little bit.
Johnson with his first play here will hand it off, and nowhere for LeGarrette Blount. Blount will lose on the play. Charles Johnson forces him out of bounds, a loss of 3. As we mentioned earlier, the 5th career start, the first this year for Josh Johnson. He's primarily come in as Mr. Wildcat, some kind of trickeration going on, but now he'll get a chance to do that and much more as he's the starting quarterback.
And they'll keep the Wildcat type of things that they've been doing with him in the package, but he's going to be asked now to drop back and throw the ball, play action, manage the game. And so there's a lot more on this young man's plate today than just a couple of plays.
His first pass of the day, and it's dropped in and out of the hands of LeGarrette Blount. We apologize. We are having some audio issues. We'll get those worked out. And that will bring up 3rd and 13.
And these are the situations that you don't want to find yourself in if you're Josh Johnson. You need to get into 3rd and manageable. So they need to be able to run the ball or play action effectively on 1st and 2nd down. You saw a negative run, and then you saw a drop pass. Now they find themselves in an unenviable position of 3rd and 13 against a team that's probably going to bring some heat right here.
Johnson in the pocket, no place to throw. Johnson goes down. That's the sack. Thomas Kaiser, the rookie free agent out of Stanford, will get the easy sack, and not a good first possession for Johnson and the Bucs.
Carolina comes with a 4-man rush. Tampa keeps 5 in to protect. You know, Johnson's got to be patient in the pocket. He didn't necessarily need to escape out to his right. There was a pocket for him to step up into. Sometimes when you're a quarterback who's used to running, your first instinct is, I've got to get out. Sometimes you need patience.
A loss of 12 on the play. This will be Edwards. Edwards mishandles the punt, picks it up, gets across the 50, then pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Jacob Cutrera with the shove out of bounds. 47 yards on the punt, 12 yards on the return. More of Superman Cam Newton coming up.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by the 2012 Jeep Wrangler Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Edition. Rated M for mature. By Rise of the Planet of the Apes on Blu-ray and DVD December 13th. And by Pizza Hut's new Big Dinner Box. Get all your favorites in one epic box.
E.J. Biggers is the man who fills in for Steve Talib, and that's unfortunate for the Bucs because Talib, as I said earlier, has matched up fairly well with the Panthers' Steve Smith. Talib grabbed his hamstring on the first couple of plays trying to go deep. This is Steve Smith, and Smith with a nice gain close to a Carolina first down, and Smith leading the NFC with 1,060 yards receiving. That's second in the NFL behind Wes Welker.
Here's the injury to Talib. Looks here as you watch as he's running off that he pulls his his left hamstring right there. When you're a corner, you depend on your speed,
that's like
and you
tire.
tweak a hammy, that is a flat tire, and you don't have a spare in the trunk.
Smith now with 71 straight games with a catch. Back to the ground game. Williams hit hard in the backfield. Already a couple of nice plays here, Jimmy, by Daquan Bowers, the second-round pick this year out of Clemson.
Yeah, first play of the game. He does a nice job defending the pass. That play there, he does a nice job of coming off the block and making the tackle to set up a 3rd and short. The roster is filled with young players, isn't it, Ronnie?
That's right. Bowers hails from Bamberg, South Carolina. Once again, we apologize for our audio difficulties. This is 3rd and 2. The quick one inside. That will not work. The Bucs defense not cool. They tried to give to Jonathan Stewart, but Adrian Claiborne, another rookie first-round pick out of Iowa, is there.
Watch the interior here. You got big Albert Hainsworth fighting off a block, and then Claiborne's able to turn the corner there and come in from his right end position and make a tackle in the backfield, brings up a 4th and short. This area of the field where you go for it, and that's what Carolina's going to do.
Bowers along with Claiborne forced the 4th down. Panthers 3 for 6 in 4th down territory this year. The boot, it's wide open. He'll get the first and then a little more. Throttles it down and takes it out of bounds. Nice call there by Rob Chubzinski, the Carolina Panther offensive coordinator, a pickup of 6 and a first.
Cam Newton, you watch here, all the play action over to your left, the defense's left, and with his speed, all he needs is a little bit of room, and he's going to get that first down. If you take a step the wrong direction defensively against a guy like Cam Newton, it's really difficult to recover. He's not your typical quarterback. This is a guy that runs a 4.40.
Already with 1 rushing touchdown as he chases Steve Rogan for the most rushing touchdowns for a quarterback all time. There's a double throw back to Newton. And Newton's got some room. And he's got some blockers. Newton inside the 5, down to the 2. Legadou Nane got the pass, threw it back to Newton, and Newton took off with it, 27 yards.
What a great way of utilizing a great athlete. They've got 4 guys out there in the quad set, the backwards pass, and Legadou Nane flipping it back to Freeman. And then watch, what I like here is Freeman's patience, letting his blockers, watch him let his blockers get out in front, and then, boom, here comes the burst. The open field run. How about the different ways they've already used Cam Newton to attack this Tampa defense?
Bootleg, Newton He could just run this one. Goes up. I don't think he got in. No, he didn't, and what a hit.
Look at the smile.
Sean Jones caught him midstream trying to do that little pirouette in the midair and took him backwards. They'll mark it at the 1.
You've got to give Rob Chudzinski a ton of credit for the creativity that he's showing in utilizing this amazing skill set of Cam Newton. You've got bootlegs. You've got the read option. You've got the quarterback leaping over. You've got the throwback, and here you're about to get a fullback power.
They'll lead with the fullback. That's Stewart. Stewart gets tripped up. Bernard Jackson is there with Jones.
This is what is so fun about Cam Newton. Is look, he loves to play football. Look at the smile. He took a big hit. This guy's 6'5", 250 pounds. Okay, so he's bigger than just about everybody on that Tampa defense. And when you have that type of personality in your huddle, and that infectious enthusiasm, it just permeates your team, and guys they want to play with you.
That's it. What is it? What is it?
3rd and goal bootleg. He'll throw this one, and it's dropped. The flag goes down, but it's in and out of the hands of Olsen. Our first call today by referee Gene Steratore.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 58, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's Quincy Black, and that's an automatic first down. That's a big penalty. The Bucs come into the game with 105 penalties called against. That's the 4th most in the NFL.
You watch Black down here at the bottom of your screen. He gets beat to the inside by Olsen. He didn't use it. You know, a lot of
Maybe
times
not a bad call.
Well, no.
Stewart will be in for the touchdown. So the penalty just moved the ball up a few inches, and Stewart does the rest. 3rd touchdown of the season for Stewart, and the Panthers go up early here in Tampa. Eight plays, 43 yards, and it really all started, Jimmy, with the flea flicker, so to speak. The pass out to Nane, back to Newton with a big gain. Panthers brought their offense, 14-zip here in the first. In case you've just joined us, 2 quick touchdowns now by the Panthers, led by Cam Newton. A 1-yard touchdown run and a 1-yard touchdown run by Jonathan Stewart. And a nice trick play to boot. Nane back to Newton for a quick run, a long run that helped him get down there for the 2nd touchdown.
Ronnie, we just saw Cam sitting on this. Cam's making football fun again. Tim Tebow's making football fun again.
Some young quarterbacks doing their part. And that's Straughter trying to do his part. He'll get it out past the 25-yard line, tackled by Josh Vaughn. A look at the Buccaneer offense. In case you haven't heard, Josh Johnson is the starting quarterback today. Freeman still suffering from the effects of a bad shoulder. Suffered last week.
Yeah, and they need to get LeGarrette Blount going, and they need to get him going right now, or it's going to be a long afternoon for this Tampa Bay team, offensively and defense, because against this Carolina defense, they should be able to run the football, and they need to be able to run the football. Look, they're down 14-0. No time to panic and start firing the ball all over the field.
They'll get to Blount. Blount, no place to go. He's got 2 straight 100-yard rushing games. That's only 1 yard. For the first time today, out to Los Angeles, Kurt Menefee with an update.
Denver and Minnesota, the Vikings quarterback Christian Ponder doesn't see Mario Hagan in there because Von Miller injured, not starting today. Hey, this is the way to get everybody's attention. Hagan with a 16-yard pick six, and Denver leads at 7-2. All points so far scored by the respective defenses, Ron and Jim.
Yeah, a lot of talk about Tim Tebow, but what a job that Denver defense is doing this year.
They'll try Blunt again, and Blunt nowhere to go. The Panthers defense all over it. Greg Hardy is there first. Andre Neblett will sub in for the injury to Sione Fua. He injured his hamstring in pregame warm-up. Jordan Sen, he'll get the call at the outside linebacker spot, replacing Gaither.
And the guy we want to watch in the secondary is number 20 down here at the bottom of your screen. Chris Gamble having a heck of a year. You'll see him matched up on Mike Williams a lot today, as he is right here. Looks like Carolina's going to bring pressure.
3rd and 9, he's got a clean pocket, wide open. Aureli has been forgotten about up the sideline, and Johnson put it on the money. Godfrey pushes him out of bounds, but not before he picks up 38.
Right corner, they're playing a 3-deep zone, Ronnie, and for some reason, the right corner just squatted on it. He just forgot. He
saw
forgot to
something,
cover.
huh?
Well, yeah, but he saw the wrong thing, because I'll tell you what he saw. He saw the ball going over his head.
Munnerlyn, the corner over there on that side, and a timeout called quickly.
Prior to the
That's
snap,
Neblett.
first
He
charge
just jumped
timeout,
up.
Carolina.
Didn't like something and called a timeout. It's nice when D linemen have the liberty to call timeouts, huh?
You don't see that often.
Well, of course, the ball control numbers are going to be skewed for Carolina right now off to the hot start.
Well, it's a good thing they called timeout on that last snap. And you know why a defensive lineman called timeout? He looked to his left and he said, you know what? There's supposed to be a guy there over the center. He's not there. They only had 10 guys on the field.
Bootleg. Bad throw by Johnson.
Really bad
He was
throw.
trying to hit Straughter across the middle of the field. And as you said earlier, Fua injured the hamstring during warm-ups. We saw him walk off.
Maybe that was the guy that was supposed to be out there.
But now,
Someone didn't get the word that he was hurt, I guess.
how mad does that make the offensive coordinator or the head coach when you burn the timeout because you've got 10, not 11, 10. 10 won't incur the penalty.
I'll tell
11
you what,
will.
somebody's getting an earful.
2nd and 10. Blunt, boy, they're all over Blunt. They saw that film last week when Blunt went for 100 against Tennessee. Nice play there by Charles Johnson, a guy who's been very consistent for the Panthers all season. That's a loss of 4.
Well, a couple things, Ronnie, that are happening right now for Carolina that's helping them defensively, and that's the fact that Tampa's having no success throwing the football on 1st and 2nd down. That enables the Carolina Panthers to play an 8-man front on every single 1st and 2nd down snap, and that's going to be tough to run against. And once again, now Tampa finds himself in a 3rd and real long.
Quick throw complete. Ben is hit hard, well short of the 1st down. And that's Gamble chirping it up along with Godfrey.
Yeah, and the fans, you hear some grumbling in the stands, but you know what, Ronnie? Well, they're upset about the hit there. They thought it was a face mask. Yeah, the officials missed that one. That happened. Yeah, they missed that. Should have been called, and that would be an automatic 1st down. But back to my point with Josh Johnson, I'm okay with him dumping it down there, not taking a sack, and keeping them in field goal range. They need points right now is what they need.
Barth, the Wilmington, North Carolina native, will punch it through from 50 yards out. The 2011 NASCAR season was one of the most exciting in history, and this February, Fox Sports will once again be at Daytona. They'll bring you the world's best drivers and drop the flag on another thrilling season of Sprint Cup racing. It all begins with the Great American Race, the 54th running of the Daytona 500. It's February 26th and only here on Fox.
Are there actually seasons in NASCAR? Or just ongoing? Didn't it seem like Tony Stewart was just racing? And here they go again?
It is the longest season in professional sports.
Ronnie, one of the most fun things I ever did is I took my Atlanta Falcons staff down to Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we went in the Richard Petty driving school. And we got in those cars and drove around the track and raced each other. Have you ever done that? If you haven't, you need to. It's unbelievable. And that wall, when you come up on that wall, it's a scary
Going 200
deal.
miles an hour.
Yeah,
Huh?
and you know, you're in these cars. You're going about 140,
Yeah.
and you're, let's say, a good 200 yards behind the guy that's in front of you. You feel like you're right on him. Now imagine with those professional race car drivers, they're bumping each other.
That's right.
It's scary now. People say those guys aren't athletes. They're athletes, courageous athletes.
They'll get a break from right about now. The season ends around Thanksgiving until about that time in the beginning of the year, and they'll start it up again. And that ball kicked out of bounds. Edwards will not have a chance. A 14-3 game, and it's been all about this guy, Cam Newton.
Oh, man, this guy, Ronnie, he's fun to watch because he can do everything. You see him on a quarterback lead. Here you see him on a quarterback keeper on 3rd and short to get the first down. Then they do the throwback to him. He sets it up nicely with his blockers, gets a bunch of yards. Here he is attacking the goal line, getting mad air. You know, he loves Michael Jordan. He wants Michael Jordan to see him getting up in the air like that. This guy is so much fun to watch. He's bringing great energy to the NFL.
He's only got 8 yards rushing, but it feels like he's got about 100.
Yes.
He's got 1 touchdown. As he takes over here, the quick toss, Stewart, no place to go. That's a nice straight down the side of the field there by Bowers, Daquan Bowers. That's a loss of 2.
Yeah, and that's an interesting call to me because they've had so much success running between the tackles so far in this game with their read option and their little counter-O play. I'm sure Rob Chudzinski had seen something that he thought he could take advantage of there, but I think right now the thing to do is to attack Tampa going right downhill.
This is a 2nd and 12. Looking towards Smith, no place to go, and a sack. Adrian Claiborne, his 6th sack of the season. That leads the team. A loss of 3.
Good rush by Claiborne there. Gives it the up and under, Ronnie. You know, you bull rush a guy, you speed rush a guy to the outside. Then all of a sudden you take him up high and you come back under with that club move there, and it was effective right there for a sack.
Officially, they split that sack. Bowers and Claiborne. Another sack on Newton. The pressure picking up here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's Bowers again, and that is the end of the first quarter. 14-3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. A 14-3 game, Carolina, as we start the second quarter here in Tampa. Ron Pitts, Jim Moore, along with Dre Avent down on the sideline. This is the 4th down. Jason Baker will punt it away to Preston Parker. And Baker goes down. Yes, there is a flag. This will either be running into or roughing the kicker, as Parker gets it across midfield. Elbert Mack made the contact.
Ronnie, that ought to be running into the kicker, which would be a 5-yard penalty. And then Tampa would have the option of forcing a re-kick or adding the 5 yards on to the end of the run. I'm sorry, Carolina would have the option of re-kicking or pushing Tampa back 5 yards.
Running into the kicker, defense number 44. Penalty is declined. First down, Tampa Bay.
Okay.
They call it on Lorig. Both men were in the same area.
Well, he tried to
the
avoid him.
The contact is made by both men, really initiated, as we initially said, by Elbert Mack.
Yeah. I need to brush up on my rules here a little bit because I thought they'd back him up 5. So I need to get with Mike Pereira, you know, and do a little touch-up course there on the special teams rules.
So good field position for the Bucs now, and Blunt has had a rough time of it thus far, not able to get much going. That might possibly be his best run of the day thus far. That'll be 6. Carolina with their first 2 drives ending in touchdowns. And right there before we went to break, before the quarter change, they had a 3 and out.
Well, Blunt gets about 5.5 there, Ronnie, and that's what's going to be really important for Tampa as they fight to get back in the game, is that they get LeGarrette Blunt going on the run. They cannot abandon the run.
Moses Madu checks in for Blunt, and I believe he's got the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Frank Kierce on the tackle. Madu, the rookie free agent out of Oklahoma, signed off the practice squad October 26th. Came in to replace Ernest Graham, the longtime Buccaneer, who was placed on injured reserve, and it is a first down, a pickup of 4 for the Buccaneers.
And that's 2 good plays, because, Ronnie, it's 2 good run plays for a first down. It takes a little pressure off Josh Johnson to have to throw the ball to move the team down the field. Now we're talking about a shot time.
And there's your shot. It's the crosser, and it's clean, and a first down. That's Kellen Winslow. He took a shot, gets up slow, says, no, I don't need any help, but he'll take the first, and that's 88 consecutive games with a catch.
Hey, Ronnie, we're here in throwback day. This is an old Don Coryell play called double follow. You run the tight end on a shallow cross, you take the slot, you push him out and bring him back in. You know who used to catch a lot of those balls? Kellen Winslow. But it was Kellen Winslow Sr. playing for Don Coryell.
Good stuff. Jimmy Moore bringing out the history books, NFL style. Back to the ground, Blunt. Now, it may not look pretty, but let me tell you, that was 6 yards. And as we know, Blunt has the ability to not only run over you, but he can jump over you as well.
Right, and there's another 6-yard run, pounding it. Really a nice job by LeGarrette Blunt there on the cutback, breaking a tackle. And once again, Ronnie, to talk about how important it is for Tampa with their backup quarterback to be able to run the football to set up the easy throws for Josh Johnson. Keep him out of those 3rd and 13s that they're just not going to have success in.
Gamble on the tackle. Craig Lumpkin checks in at the back spot. He'll get the handoff. Lumpkin trying that right side, will be about 2 or 3 yards shy of the first. Anderson is there with the tackle.
Well, Tampa breaks out a little bit of their own read option there, Ronnie. Very much similar to the play that Cam ran earlier, getting the shotgun, snap it to a quarterback that's done that before, you know, in college, feels comfortable with it, put some pressure on the perimeter of your defense, because your end opposite the run can't just crash down and try to make the play when you've got a quarterback who's a threat to get the edge.
The toss, and it's sniffed out perfectly. Trying to get the ball that really has been, but Charles Johnson has made a couple nice plays today, says not on this side.
Look at the middle of your screen here. Watch Charles Johnson, number 95. Nobody blocks him. Nobody.
That's the one guy I think you want to block.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Zutov was supposed to scoop out there and at least get a piece of him, but it's tough to run a reverse when you let the right end get up the field free.
A loss of 12 on the play. This is a 47-yarder. Barth, he's already hit one today. He hit from 50. It's up. It's clean. It's through. No flags. So the drive stalled, but the Buccaneers able to get away with points. 14-6 here in Tampa.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. In theaters December 16th. And by the Droid Razor. Thin is no longer frail. Only at Verizon.
The Carolina Panthers are in last place in the NFC South at 3-8, but trail the third place Bucs by only a game. And key game going on right now, the Falcons and the Texans. And the Falcons down 3-0 early in the second quarter to the Texans. Detroit and New Orleans will play tonight, another key game in the NFC South.
You want to see a scoring fest? Tune into that one, because they'll be flinging it all over the yard.
Edwards won't have a chance. He'll just look at this one in the sun and kneel on it.
Game I'm excited for is that Green Bay New York Giants game later on Fox.
That's our game of the week coming up next, but more of this guy, Mr. Heisman, #1 overall, Cam Newton, coming up.
You look at this statistic here on your screen and you would think that Tampa had made some kind of adjustment in that last drive. I'm not sure that's the case. I think they just played better. And I think on third down, Greg Olsen fell down and Cam Newton got sacked.
D'Angelo Williams gets it outside. I don't know how he did that. And he's chopped down, coming low as Rondé Barber, a pickup of 4.
Yeah, you know, people are always talking, Ronnie, about halftime adjustments. And a team went in and they made some good halftime adjustments. There's adjustments being made between each series during a game. I think people would be surprised if they were in a locker room at halftime to see really how little is actually said in terms of adjustments. If you're not adjusting as the game goes on, then you're going to be behind. So you better be adjusting before halftime. And I think Tampa said, we better adjust after this second drive. And, you know, that last drive indicated that they're playing a little better.
Pressure inside. They pick it up. Plenty of time for Newton. The high one. Shockey's got it. Then some. Shockey out at midfield. Adrian Claiborne was in coverage, and for Shockey, 133 straight games with a catch, and that's a first down for Carolina, 26 yards on the pickup.
What's impressive about that throw, Ronnie, is that Cam Newton is moving out of the pocket to his left, and he throws just a great, what we call 7 route, a corner route, an up and a deep out route. He loves to throw that ball. He feels like he can throw it with velocity on the line, or he can throw it like he did there with some loft and some touch.
Play action and Stewart pressure. Newton's in trouble. Moves, gets away from it. He's out of the pocket and got it back to the line of scrimmage, but a marker goes down. Pressure there by Quincy Black. He was out of the pocket and got it back to the line of scrimmage, so I don't think it's in the area of intentional grounding, but let's check in with Gene Steratore.
What they have to decide here,
Prior
Ronnie.
to the pass, and while the quarterback was still in the pocket, illegal contact, defense, number 20, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's Rondé Barber starting his 195th consecutive game at cornerback. That is the most for a cornerback in NFL history right now at the Los Angeles. And an update.
Well, the Steelers, Rashard Mendenhall apparently likes playing against the Bengals. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in their game earlier this season. This is his second already today, making it 14-0. Pittsburgh on top of Cincinnati. By the way, Ron and Jim, Mendenhall's only multi-touchdown games against Bengals.
Boy, and that's a tough division right now. Ravens, Steelers, both 8-3, and the Bengals right there behind them at 7-4. Back to the ground game for 2.
Ronnie, let's go back and look at the end of that last play when Cam Newton had to scramble out to his left. And sometimes what you'll see with young quarterbacks is you'll see them get frantic in this situation. What you see with Cam Newton is a maturity and a calmness to say, okay, the play's not there for me. He gathers himself and he throws it right at the line of scrimmage, knowing he's outside of the pocket, avoids a sack, avoids intentional grounding. You know, those are plays that coaches look at as indicators of a guy maturing within the system.
Look at it. Look at it. 180. 180.
2nd and 8 throw, a miscommunication. He was expecting the stop route by Steve Smith, and Smith was on the fly. But, you know, talking to Newton, everybody around the league says, well, he's going to hit the rookie wall, but he hasn't hit it. And he said, I'm living the dream, man. I don't have time for the wall.
Yeah, he loves playing football. You're looking there to, you know, we're talking about the miscommunication, Ronnie, between Steve Smith and Cam Newton. Now, these guys are really on the same page this year. What Cam saw is he saw the corner up and bump and run and bail, which means, hey, I'm running out to my 30. He said, when we bail, we throw an out. If they press, we throw a fade. And that's why a corner will use that bail technique to try to create some confusion between the receiver and quarterback, and it worked there.
Newton on the move. Plenty of green, and he's down to the 21-yard line. 22 yards, and Jimmy, you brought this up during the week. Keep your eye on Newton, especially on third down. His numbers are great.
Yeah, when I looked at the statistic and all the stats that we get through the week, the one thing that jumped out to me was his ability to convert third downs into first downs by running the football. He's the #1 player in the National Football League, as you see here, running for first downs on third down. And when your quarterback is that type of threat, running the football and can still throw it the way this guy is, it is extremely tough to defend third down plays.
And they'll try it again, and he'll pick up 2. Now, the logical question is, sure, he's young, he's big, and he's strong. How long can you get away with doing that before your quarterback has to wear a neck roll every game?
Well, what you see, Ronnie, on these last 2 plays, first the scramble, and then which was a designed run for him this last play, is he didn't take hits because he got down. And so, to me, you're seeing a guy that understands that, yeah, I'm going to get all the yards I can get, but even though I'm 6'5", 250, I don't need to be taking a lot of shots. The guy is just mature beyond his years and beyond his experience.
A hot one up high, intended for LaFell, and it's incomplete. Well, coming up next, it's a big one, America's Game of the Week. Aaron Rodgers and those world champion Green Bay Packers head to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants and Eli Manning, or you'll see Tony Romo and the Cowboys going out to the desert to take on the Cardinals. They always seem to struggle out there. Or it's the Rams and the 49ers, all coming your way next, right after the early games here on Fox.
Oh, Giants, Packers, boy, tune in for that one.
Good one, huh?
Boy, the Giants have to win that game. So this is a big test for the Green Bay Packers in New York.
First charge timeout, Carolina.
Timeout, Carolina.
Correction, that was Carolina's second timeout.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150, the only truck available with EcoBoost.
Talk about the rookie show brought to Tampa. Newton with 105 all-purpose yards already today. That includes 56 passing, 32 rushing, and even receiving 27. This is a 3rd and 8. He likes to run on this down. He'll throw in the middle. It's caught. It's a touchdown and a flag. Legadou Nane. But let's check the flag. That would be his first touchdown of the season if it stands, 19 yards. And if you ever question the arm strength of Newton, you won't anymore.
Ronnie, how about the second down throw that he overthrew, the seam route?
Comes right back in there.
Comes right back to it and burns it in there.
The play is
for
a touchdown. We also have personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 26 of the defense. 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So Newton comes right back to it.
You know what was impressive about that throw, Ronnie, besides the velocity and the accuracy, was the fact that Tampa only rushed 3 and dropped 8. Okay, so you're in a condensed space anyway down here, tight, and for him to be able to find that lane and fire it in there like he did, really impressive.
Sean Jones with the infraction. It won't matter. They'll tack it on. 8 plays, 80 yards. And the Panthers laying it on the Bucs early here in the first half. Boy, and look where Carolina's going to kick off as you look at the scoring drive there. 17th touchdown drive of 80 or more yards for the Carolina Panthers. That is #1 in the NFL.
You know what's so impressive about that is they're doing it with a rookie quarterback. You know, and normally you say, hey, let's force them to go 80. Let's make them make a mistake. And they're having success going 80. That says a lot about Cam Newton. And then earlier I talked about the second down throw. Here's the second down throw, the seam route that Cam Newton overthrew here. You'll see it here at the end. Just overthrows it. Couldn't quite squeeze it in there. And then here's the third down play to Legadou Nane. Basically the exact same route, learns from his previous throw and burns it in there for a touchdown. You love to see that out of a young player. You love to see them learning during a game as opposed to having to look at it on film on Monday and then learn the next week.
So the Buccaneers find themselves in a big hole, and they'll have to pass. And that'll be a loss of the ball, retained by Johnson. And a marker goes down. Greg Hardy is all over him. We could have a hold.
Ronnie, they're going to call Captain Munnerlyn out here for a holding on Mike Williams. I'm not so sure now. I think that's just
the pass. Holding. Defense number 41. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Boy, that bails the Bucs out on that play.
Ronnie, you watch this. You're a corner. This is textbook bump and run coverage. Look at that. Hands are inside. Now, he's got a little hold of the jersey, but his hands are inside. The ball wasn't even thrown. Now, I guess you got to call that. But if I'm teaching a young guy how to play bump and run, I want to see that because he moved his feet.
Tampa Bay.
He stayed square. He got his hands up in his chest.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. What he has to do is he has to eliminate that right hand grabbing the jersey. But when you go back and you look at this, what you see is a guy who's very, watch him here now. Great stance, okay? Patient at the line of scrimmage, keeps his hands inside.
See that jersey pull? That's what the
right
side
hand,
judge saw.
Because the left hand was excellent, but you're right. It was that jersey pull. That's what he saw. That's what makes it a good call. But, boy, what a nice job jamming him up at the line of scrimmage. You know what Captain Munnerlyn's got to do? He's got to continue to do that because he forced Josh Johnson to pull the ball down, allows the rush to get there. He's just got to eliminate. Hey, we've got an issue here now.
A big issue for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Johnson is hurt. That means this man just brought up from the practice squad, Rudy Carpenter. I mean, brought up like hours ago.
Did he play for Notre Dame back in the day? Rudy.
No, but he did play for Arizona State.
I like the tattoo.
Okay, so just like that, after being brought up from the practice squad, right on the deadline, which was yesterday at 4 p.m. Now, Rudy Carpenter's in the game. He's been running scout team, and he'll hand that ball off to Blunt. Let's go back and look at the injury.
Yeah. Okay, he's back. I was going to say, Ronnie, I didn't see anything there that indicated, you know, an injury to an upper body. Maybe he just got shooken up. Maybe he lost a little feeling in his left arm. Rudy came in there, and it was a nice handoff by Rudy.
That's his first.
His parents got to see him play.
His first NFL snap. Nothing bad happened. Johnson trying to make something good happen. That ball's on the money. Mike Williams, big first down.
You talk about a great throw, Ronnie. You know, especially coming off a play where you're injured. Watch Williams here playing versus a two-deep zone. He just drops this into the soft spot, right on the fingertips. Great throw. Started with great protection. Really, that was just a two-man route. They maxed it up, let him drop back there, get comfortable in the pocket, delivered a beautiful throw down the field. And that's what Tampa needs now. They need some chunk plays to get back in this game.
42 yards, the first catch of the day for Williams, his longest of the season. A trip and a fall and a loss of yardage for Lumpkin. What do they say, Jimmy? Son, we can find anybody to trip and fall.
Yeah. You know, Tampa's running backs today, to me, look a little hesitant in hitting the hole. You know, they don't look certain in just hitting it downhill. When you watch LeGarrette Blount, what always stands out about him is that he takes the ball and boom, he's downhill right now. And I'm seeing a little hesitation. I'm sure that it has something to do with the way that Carolina's playing defense.
That was a loss of one. Back to the play action. Hit as he throws it. And Johnson slow to get up, but he jumps up rather quickly. Charles Johnson again is in his face.
Ronnie, I just got a call from Mike Pereira back at headquarters, Fox headquarters. He said, you know what? Tell Mora he's right. He does need to work on his rules. I think he's been waiting to tell me that for about 25 years.
You and Mike have been going at it for a long time.
I love Mike Pereira. There's nobody better in this business than Mike Pereira. And you talk about a guy that knows the ins and outs of every rule. That's the guy.
Johnson up the middle. Johnson will get about 3. Well short of the first down. Antoine Applewhite will pick him up, make the tackle, a pickup of 4 officially. That'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, you know, and you're in the area here, Ronnie, where you'd say, yardage-wise, you know, inside the 30, you're down 21-6. You go for it here. You know, it's 4th down and about 8, almost 8, 7. You got to take the points here. You got to kick the field goal. You hate to have to settle once again for a 3, but this early in the game, you got to kick the field goal here. I agree with this call, certainly.
The Bark has been solid. He's hit from 50, 47, and boy, just squeezes this one in from 46. It doesn't matter how they go through, as long as they go through. The Buccaneers hanging in there, not able to get 6, but they are getting 3s, 3 threes to be exact. Well, Fox, tomorrow it's country music's biggest event of the year with performances by country's biggest stars, Trace Adkins, Christian Chenoweth. They host the American Country Awards. That's live tomorrow at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
I don't like my hair.
And there's a look at Raheem Morris. Raheem now tough duty because he's not only the head coach, he's handling the defensive coordinating duties. I always thought that could be somewhat of a stress for him if you're not experienced at it.
Well, it can be. You know, you see a lot of head coaches in this league handle the play calling, but you don't see a lot of head coaches handle the defensive play calling. But Raheem's, you know, he's got a firm grasp on what he wants to be defensively. Still, the way they play defense this year, I wouldn't be surprised if next year you see them hire a defensive coordinator to let Raheem act as more as an overseer of the defense and really just as a head football coach. But it's tough for a guy like Ra, who has a passion for coaching football, to give that up.
4:25 left here in the first half, 21-9. The Carolina Panthers, they got off to a hot start, and they have kept it rolling. A little bit of a hiccup there. They had a 3 and out, but that man really has been the catalyst. He's done it throwing the ball. He's done it catching the ball. Caught a throwback from Nane. And, of course, he's done it running the ball, as we mentioned, on 3rd down.
Well, I'm sure to the viewers this sounds like a Cam Newton love fest. And you know, really what it is, Ronnie, I think, is that you and I, having been guys that have been around this league our entire lives, we just respect him as a player and what he's bringing to this game and what he's adding to this team and really adding to this league.
He'll pull it out, the old read option, and then just kind of hit the turf on that one.
And Ronnie, that goes back to your point right there. You said he hit the turf. You asked the question, how long can a guy play with this style where he's taking off and running? If he's making the decisions like he just made on that last play to say, okay, I've gotten all I can get, why do I want to run into a 330-pound man? And he takes all he can get and then he gets down, then he can live a long time playing this style of football. You know, that was one of the things that it took Mike Vick a little bit of time to learn. It took Steve Young, who I was with in San Francisco, some time to learn. Hey, when do I concede the down?
2nd and 8 throw. Pressure is there late. That one nearly intercepted. Out to Los Angeles. Patriots Colts update. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Yeah, Indy hanging in there. Game all tied at 3 in the 2nd quarter. That is until Brady hooks up with Rob Gronkowski. Where have we seen that before? 11-yard touchdown, and the Patriots get a little separation. Near to get 10-3 just inside the 2-minute warning. Ron and Jim.
How about that tight end combination, Ron? You're talking about Gronkowski and Hernandez and the way Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have found ways to utilize them. You know, we're looking at 2 really good tight ends here with Carolina. You know,
Shockey and Olsen.
Shockey and Olsen, but those two have taken it to a new level.
3rd and 8. Pressure to one side, a late throw, and chalk that one up to the pressure. Indeed, that's Brian Price, second-year man out of UCLA, who was questionable this week with a bad ankle. He comes up and forces the errant throw and the 4th down.
Ronnie, you call this a TE game, or it's actually an ET game, which means the end comes in first, the tackle loops around, and on a 3rd and long where the routes are going to take a long time to develop, you've got a chance to run those types of games, because typically you wouldn't say Price is the type of athlete you want working out in space. but on 3rd and 9, that's okay. That's going to work for you.
Not a great punt, the serious pressure there. Force that ball, it's recovered or down just on the other side of the 50, 30 yards on the punt. Well, Fox tonight, Animation Domination is bringing home a night of all new laughs with Alan Gregory, Family Guy, and The Cleveland Show. It all begins with an all-new Simpsons featuring guest star Joan Rivers. That'll be great. Tonight, all starting at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
You know, Tampa, Ron, in this first half has had some pretty decent field position. Haven't been able to capitalize with touchdowns and put some field goals on the board. I tell you what, going into halftime now, nothing be sweeter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than to be able to drive down here and put a touchdown on the board.
They'll hand it off to Madu across midfield, decent gain, picks up 5 on first down. And who exactly is Josh Johnson? Well, he went to the University of San Diego, that's right. He's a Torero. Played for Coach Jim Harbaugh, 49er head coach, and all he pretty much did there was win.
Hadn't been as easy for him in the NFL, though. You see a little contrast in numbers, but he's still young in his career. And you know what, Ron? You're seeing him grow and learn as this game goes on.
He hails from Oakland, California, a cousin of Seattle Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch. He'll hand it off. Appeared to be stopped was Moses Madu, but Madu comes up with something out of nothing. A flag goes down. He picks up 7. Let's see if it stands.
Holding. Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
It will not stand. That's Davin Joseph.
You talk about Jim Harbaugh. There's a picture of Jim Harbaugh and Josh Johnson. Harbaugh coached him at San Diego, like you said, Ronnie, 2004 to 2006. It's a pretty good quarterback coach on the left. Guy played in the league, had success in the league. We see what he's doing with Alex Smith now in San Francisco.
Good point.
And so we know that Josh Johnson has some pedigree. He's been coached by some pretty good players. Of course, when he first came here to Tampa, John Gruden, who's a pretty darn good quarterback coach in his own right, was his coach for a year.
Had a horrible combine, they say, and that scared away a lot of scouts. But he was able to find a home as a backup here at Tampa. There's a throw just as he's hit to Kellen Winslow. Captain Munnerlyn with the tackle.
Well, he certainly looks more comfortable right now in the pocket than he did earlier in the game. I like the way he steps up into this throw and throws it down the field.
That is the 2-minute warning. The Panthers up 21-9, but the Bucs driving.
2-minute warning.
You know, Ronnie, we talked before the broadcast about the importance of LeGarrette Blount having a good day to take some pressure off Josh Freeman. So far, 7 carries for 8 yards. I think Carolina's doing a really nice job of creating penetration and not letting him get downhill, which is where he excels.
Easy. Be alert for that hot.
Listen to the audio.
Wait,
3rd and 5. Johnson on the move. He's going to get the first and a little more. And gets out of bounds. Nice looking play. That's 14 yards and the first.
Ronnie, you're right. That was a nice looking play. What I really liked about Josh Johnson there was, first of all, his command at the line of scrimmage. I said, listen to the audio. You know, he identified the front. He identified the coverage. He called the protection. Then when the ball was snapped, he hung in the pocket, let things develop. He showed to me some signs of maturity there, that he's growing within this offense during this game by hanging in there. Then when it all broke down, he said, hey, I'm going to get out, and he used his speed to get the first down.
On the ground, nothing there. A pickup of 1, Terrell McClain. One of the 2 rookies starting most of the season for Carolina. He's a 3rd-round pick out of South Florida, coming back home to play. And they've done a nice job against Blount. 8 carries and 9 yards. This is a man that went over 100 last week against Tennessee.
It's that initial penetration, Ronnie, into the backfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that is making LeGarrette Blount work lateral rather than downhill, where he excels.
Buccaneers with 2 timeouts. Out of the pocket again. Slide just shy of the first down. Gamble came up hard and forced him to go down.
I thought this was a good decision here, Ronnie, by Josh Johnson to run. You know, I talked earlier about him hanging in the pocket, exhausting all his options and then running. But when you look at it here, look at the escape route that he's got there out to his right side. We've got an end rushing up high. We've got a tackle pinned down inside. Really, that was his best option right there to get out and run. And knowing that he had 2 timeouts in his pocket, he was okay running there. He was okay sliding without getting the first down, and he was okay calling timeout. You know, would I have liked to see him get out of bounds? Yeah, but there was nowhere for him to go to get out of bounds. Now they're in 3rd and 2. They've still got a timeout on the clock. They can run the football here if they want. Really don't have to use a timeout if they don't want to after they run the football. So right now, by him running there on 2nd down and getting to 3rd and 2, he's given them a lot of options offensively here for this 3rd down snap.
Bucs struggling inside the red zone, second to last in the NFC. 29 trips down, only 12 touchdowns. They've relied on 3 field goals already today from Bart. The fans want an interference or contact. They won't get it. That ball intended for Mike Williams.
Ronnie, what they were trying to do here with Mike Williams, see that short split, indicates, hey, we're going to run a crossing route. Okay, but they took a shot on him early. Of course, Gamble, he recognized. You know what? Gamble's old pro. He says, hey, I see what we call a minus split, a reduced split by that X receiver. That indicates one of 2 things. This guy's either going to run a shallow cross or he's going to run up and run out to the flag, a corner route. He ran that cross, and Gamble was all over it.
Thus far, it's throwback Connor Barth day. He's hit 3. This is 4, 44 yards out. Boy, he came to play. Last 4 drives for Tampa Bay, 4 field goals. Let's see what Kurt has on tap for us at the half. Kurt.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll have scores and highlights from a busy Week 13 in the National Football League, including an update on the knee injury suffered by the Bears' Matt Forte today against the Chiefs, and the big matchup between the Bengals and the Steelers. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime.
These guys look like they're having fun there, Ronnie. Kicking back,
they should be.
Feet up.
Have you ever been to the green room? The avocado room, I guess officially, excuse me. There's plenty of food in there. And plenty of love thus far for Cam Newton. Got off to the quick start, 21-12 game, 1 timeout apiece. This guy is taking control, and Rob Chudzinski, the offensive coordinator, has no problem letting him take control.
No, and you talk about Rob Chudzinski, and you know we've been talking a lot about Cam Newton and what he can do. What you got to really appreciate about the offensive coordinator Rob Chudzinski is the things he's creating for Cam to do. He's not limiting him. Every week he's saying, okay, let's expand our package for this guy. Let's give him more rather than less.
Edwards will take this one out. No, he
so
says,
fast.
I don't think so. With 1 timeout, 58 seconds left, they'll take it on the 20.
This will be a fun drive now. You know, this, again, when you're talking about young players in this league, whether you're talking about Cam Newton or you're talking about Tim Tebow, you know, I'm talking about quarterback Christian Ponder, those types of guys. You want to see him take steps every week. You want to see him do something a little bit better one week than they did the last week. And so now we're here in a 2-minute situation, 58 seconds, 1 timeout. You got decent field position. Let's see how he handles this situation. Another great learning opportunity for Cam Newton. And what I like right there is look at him call out the protection for Greg Olsen.
Quick screen, nice call on 1st down. Stewart hit hard. Still going, but he'll have about 8.
Carolina's not in a big hurry here. That's a good, safe 1st down call.
Let's see where they mark it. They've stopped the clock.
Runner is ruled down by contact.
He was ruled down by contact, so he'll be shy
there. The clock will start now. I will wind the clock now.
They'll call it 7.
Well, that helps Carolina right there, the way they handled that there. Stopping the clock without having to use a timeout, giving them a chance to get organized.
Well, you see Cam with the clapping, wanting the ball, now dumps it off. Stewart should try to get out of bounds, and he does.
Ronnie, you mentioned Cam Newton clapping in our audio. How about that audio? Hearing the clap, clap, clap. What he's doing there is he's indicating to the court, to the center, hey, time's running down. You got to get me the ball. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Get me the ball. It's an attention-getting maneuver. You'll see Peyton Manning lift his foot. You'll see some quarterbacks in college drop their hand down. What Cam's doing when he claps is, hey, man, I need the football. Get me the football.
Mackenzie Bernardo checks in, replaces Travell Wharton. Going deep to the corner, and Smith shuts it down. The coverage was solid. Biggers was in the area.
Smith's grabbing his left hammy a little bit there, but I'll tell you what, Tampa has done a really nice job on Steve Smith today. You watch him here, they've got him to the inside, they've got him to the outside. He's only got one catch today, and that was on that quick screen, Ronnie. You can keep Steve Smith in check, then you've got a chance.
You saw Sean Jones coming over late to help Biggers.
Well, what's impressive is they don't have Aqib Talib playing either.
He went out in the first quarter with an injury and a key sack, a huge sack by Daquan Bowers. Could be offsides, though. Let's check the flag.
I think Bowers might have got a little head start on that one, Ronnie.
Offside. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
They'll erase the sack.
Watch the bottom of your screen here and watch the tackle, and that's close, and they got to call that. You know, the only problem with that play for Carolina is that it eats up clock. You know, and right now time is such a valuable commodity. You love the fact that you get a new play. You love the fact that now it's 2nd and 5, but you lost about 6 seconds on that play.
Boy, if I'm the Buccaneers secondary, I'm thinking they're going to take a shot deep on you pretty soon, at least to the corner. Newton lets it fly, wide open. That's LaFell, and LaFell is going to get out of bounds. Perfectly executed play, a hole in the zone. That's 31. A first down deep into Tampa territory with 3 seconds left.
Ronnie, you talk about athleticism. What's so impressive about Cam Newton right here is the way he escapes out to his left. Watch him now escape out to his left. All right, remember he's a right-hander, so he gets that reverses out of the pocket. Now watch him square his shoulders up back there and throw it back into the field of play. You don't want your quarterback throwing against his body very often or throwing back into the field when you're rolling out one way or the other. But when you can square up your shoulders, position yourself down the field like you did there, that's nice.
Mare, 43 yards out, and it's through. So give the credit again to Newton. They add points. We now go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles. The Visa halftime show starting now. We're 24-12 here at the half. Don't forget to follow your favorite NFL team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. 24-12 here in Tampa. Ron Pitts, Jim Moore, Drea Avent down on the sideline. Cam Newton got it going early and didn't stop. They had a couple series there where things seemed to sputter, but all in all, it has been the rookie show here in Newton.
Yeah, and we keep talking about all the great things he's doing, and it's fun to see him developing before our eyes. We saw him early in the season, you know, and there's some doubt as to how good he could really be his rookie year. And I think, you know, here we are at week 12 or 13, and you just see a guy who's really starting to master the position, master the game. He looks very comfortable. He's making all the throws. He's making good decisions. You know, I don't think it's overstating it to say that he's very close to becoming one of the best quarterbacks already in the NFL as a rookie. And then, yeah, I think one of the problems, Ron, that Tampa's having is they needed to be able to run the football today. You know, when you're starting quarterbacks out, and they're not able to do that right now. You see running the football. They've only got 34 yards so far, and they got to get LeGarrette Blount going. They're only down 12 points, so you don't want to abandon the run.
I'll tell you another guy they need to get going is Steve Smith for Carolina, that is. 1 catch, 9 yards, but when you're up 24-12, I guess you live with that. Let's go down to the sideline and Trey Avon.
Hi, Ron. Well, I spoke to Coach Rivera, and he said he's absolutely elated with how much energy his team came out with. He said he wants that to continue, and he liked the effectiveness in the red zone. But he said on the defensive side of the ball, we need to do a better job on not having lulls. He said we need to really tighten things up in that area. And as for Coach Morris, he said right now we need to do whatever we can do to score, whether it's on the ground, whether it's through the air. We have to get mentally tough, and we have to try to make things happen out there, and we need to continue to get pressure on Cam Newton. We don't necessarily have to sack him, but we need to hurry him and make him uncomfortable back there, guys.
Well, Raheem's right about scoring, but it's not field goals they need. It's not points that they need. They need touchdowns. They need 7s. And Ronnie, they're only 12 down. So, hey, this game is far from over. One drive right here can make all the difference in the world, but they need to finish with touchdowns. 4 field goals, 5 field goals, 6 field goals. That's not going to do it. They need touchdowns.
4 field goals on the other side of the ball for Connor Barth, the Buccaneers, that is. Those have been their only points. Straughter will sit on it. They'll take it at the 20.
I think one thing that's going to help them here moving into the second half is the fact that Josh Johnson looks a little bit more comfortable right now throwing the football. And you look at his numbers, he's 5 and 9, nothing that's eye-popping, but he's shown in that last drive before the 2 minutes, the ability to make some good decisions in the pocket, to run when it was time to run, to throw the ball away when it was time to throw it away. He made the good deep downfield throw to Williams there, and he looks like he's really starting to kind of settle down a little bit. Now if they can get the running game going.
Fake the end around. There's a quick one out in the flat. That's Ben. Gang tackled there. 5 Carolina Panthers. What looked like a pretty good gain ended up being only 2.
Now, good pursuit there by Carolina. Drea talked about Ron Rivera being excited about the energy his team's playing with, and I think that always reveals itself in the way your defense swarms to the football. And you saw an indication there on that play of 11 guys swarming to the football. Initially, Ronnie, like you said, that looked like it could, be a significant game, but whoom, all of a sudden there's a bunch of Panthers on that ball.
Carolina drew first blood, 2 quick scores. They got tricky. A throwback pass led to more points. And this is what Tampa needs right here. They need to get LeGarrette Blount going. Well, he gets going for about 6. Dan Connor brings him down.
And Ronnie, downhill, and we've been talking about that the whole first half, is that this guy's at his best when he's heading downhill. The old cliche, run north and south, and too often in the first half you saw penetration by the Carolina defensive line that forced LeGarrette to hop sideways. There was a good downhill run and a good productive downhill run.
Third down and 2 throw, and it's complete, and that's a first down. Preston Parker did a little turn route, got 6 yards. They'll move the chains, brought down by Sherrod Martin.
Ronnie, just to me, that play right there was another indication of this guy, Josh Johnson, starting to feel more comfortable because they brought 5. There was a rush. There was some pressure around him in the pocket. He didn't flush too early. He kept his eyes up the field, and he delivered a nice throw to a check down for a first down. If you are Raheem Morris, you got to be excited about what you're seeing out of this quarterback right there.
First catch of the day for Parker. Johnson, 7 of 11, 114 yards. No touchdowns, but no picks either. There's another reception and another nice throw. That ball on the money in tight traffic to Mike Williams. Godfrey on the tackle, but a pickup of 20. Ronnie, and the Bucs starting to move the ball.
We're lucky because we're seeing 2 really athletic, exciting quarterbacks with arm strength, the ability to run, but, and this is what I think is really fun to see, 2 guys that aren't relying too much on their legs. They're saying, hey, you know what? I can throw the football. That was a heck of a throw. Patience in the pocket, sliding away from pressure, and that was a money throw into a tight window.
Nice job by Donald Penn there, holding out Charles Johnson. A great job in the backfield there. He'll come up injured. That's Frank Pierce, the rookie free agent out of Alabama A&M, who was originally drafted in the 7th round by the Dolphins this year.
go back to this throw, and Ronnie, just his ability to keep his eyes up the field with pressure around him, and as he was moving out of the field, you know, when you're breaking down film as a defensive coordinator against a quarterback that has mobility, you're always looking for the indicator that he's stopped being the passing threat and turned into a runner. What you saw with Josh Johnson there is he remained a passing threat. He kept his eyes down the field.
Johnson getting more and more comfortable now. He's come out in this second half. Now he hits Mike Williams again, and that's another first down, a pickup of 14. Jimmy, we have to remember, coming into this game, this young man has only thrown 7 passes this season.
Right, and that's why I don't want to go overboard with it, but we're seeing indications here of a guy who's learning as the game goes on. You know, you talk about quarterbacks that can extend a play, that can keep their eyes down the field, that can remain a passing threat as they attack the line of scrimmage. You know, this is probably a little bit of a stretch, and people say, what are you, nuts? But Ben Roethlisberger does a great job of doing that. Mike Vick has learned how to do that.
No place to go. He gets rid of it. Andre Neblett along with Anderson with the pressure. In case you've just joined us and don't know the news, Josh Freeman injured his shoulder last week. Tried to practice throughout the week, really couldn't consistently. The starting nod was given to Johnson. Now maybe the discussion of whether or not it's an intentional grounding.
Well, you know, I think the officials are doing a heck of a job here talking about whether...
There's no foul for intentional grounding. The receiver was in the area. Second down.
Okay, I agree with that. I agree with the fact that the receiver was in the area. My question on that play would be, was he outside of the tackle box when he threw the ball down the field? And I'm sure that the officials considered that when they huddled up there.
I don't think you'll get a call from Mike on that. I think you're good. Check your phone. Moses Madu, he's spelled for Blunt. He'll pick up 2. McLean on the tackle.
Ronnie, this is a must-convert third down right here. They just cannot settle for another field goal. I mean, yeah, it's points, Ron, but it's deflating points. You know, it's points that indicate we're not good enough today to get down into the red zone and score a touchdown, and they need some momentum right now.
Third and 8, ball came quick. Johnson is hit, that ball is intercepted. Thomas Kaiser comes up with the interception. They hit by Greg Hardy, and there looked to be some confusion on the snap.
Oh, there didn't look to be. There was a lot of confusion right there.
So Kaiser coming up with his first career interception, and we still got a 24-12 game.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at your local Jaguar dealership. By Windows 7. It's a great time to be a family. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Ron, Josh Johnson obviously was not prepared for the snap. So there's miscommunication between the center and the quarterback, caught him off guard, and then, you know, what you'd like to see him do here, Ronnie, is just accept the fact that the play was dead and take the sack rather than try to force it down the field like he did. Now we get a turnover.
Williams on the right side, and you know, that's kind of a shame for the Buccaneers as you look at the interception again. That was the first turnover of the day for either team, but more importantly, for Johnson, he was 4 of 5, 42 yards, 3 first downs. Arguably, that was his best series of the day.
No, they had something going on offense there. Running the football. LeGarrette Blount had a run, a good run, downhill run. They were throwing the ball effectively. They had something going. They needed to convert that there to try to get in the end zone, so that really hurts him.
Little direct snap there, some wildcat. D'Angelo Williams takes the snap. It took the Buccaneers a while to adjust to it.
Well, I'll tell you why it took them a while to adjust to it, is that when you have Cam Newton, you say, why would they ever run the wildcat? Because it limits your ability to throw the ball down the field when you go to the wildcat. Of course, that was an effective run So that kind of negates my argument right there. But I don't think that's something that you typically see out of these guys. You know, coordinators, they like to throw wrinkles in there, and that was a really good play call and well-designed play by Rob Jasinski.
Good enough for 6 yards in the first. Plenty of time across the middle. LaFell starting today for Nane. And LaFell has come up with some big catches. That's another long one, 28 yards, a first. He's working on Sean Jones there with the tackle.
Big time throw right here, Ronnie, right down the middle. And you know Cam feels the pressure coming from his backside, but he stays in the pocket. He doesn't panic. He doesn't get happy feet. And then he hits the big downfield throw on the money, right where you want to put it, in the zone. Can we say enough good things about this kid? I don't know. I don't know that I can. I'm trying to say enough good things about him.
I can say some good things about the Panthers' protection. Here comes the option. Fakes the pitch, takes it up the field. Newton inside the 5. How many elements do you have to stop when you play against Newton and the Panthers these days? That's 20 and another first down.
Ronnie, you can't even imagine the pressure this puts on a defense. This is an option. Okay, you don't see the option in pro football. Rondé Barber there, he has the pitch man. Okay, so he's responsible for the pitch. They've got to get somebody on the quarterback. You don't see those types of plays in pro football. So we've seen option. We've seen throwback to the quarterback. We've seen all kinds of different designed runs for Cam Newton. It's just, Rob Jasinski is so creative, and he's got a great guy to be creative with.
First and goal. Newton looking to tie the record for rushing touchdowns for a quarterback in NFL history. He won't make it on that one. That's 2 yards. Roy Miller there for the tackle.
And that was another designed run for Cam Newton, and that's a quarterback lead play. And Ronnie, defenses aren't set up to defend an offense that uses a lead blocker on a quarterback run play. You'll see that read zone, and teams can figure out a way to stop that. But when you use your quarterback as a primary runner, like they did on that play, it forces you to bring an extra guy up into the core to try to stop it. You run out of guys.
Fake the handoff. He'll try it again, and he's in. And that ties the record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history, Cam Newton. That ties Steve Grogan's record of 12.
He wants that football. You see him go back. He started off the field and say, yeah, that's a record-breaking football. I want it. Now, he'll get it because they use a kicking ball here on the extra point. He's just got to find out where it is. He'll find it. They'll find that ball for him. That's a historic football. He'll put that up on his mantle, have it painted up, show it to his grandkids one day.
That's the second rushing touchdown of the day for Newton. And whatever the Panthers do just seems to work, no matter who touches the ball. 31-12. We told you in the open the rookie show was coming to Tampa. We didn't disappoint.
Well, he got the ball, Ron. That was the ball. Well, Cam doesn't think it was the ball. The Carolina Panthers radio guy thinks it's the ball. Maybe it is the ball. It's a ball. Derek Anderson thinks it's the ball.
Just take the ball and say it is the ball. It's 31-12. Straughter back deep. This will come back. Straughter with a lane, makes a cut. He's got an opening. A flag is down, and Straughter's out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Straughter, third-year man out of Oregon
During the
State.
return, holding. Return team number 51, 10-yard penalty. First down, Tampa Bay. Timeout.
That's Jacob Cutrera. Even with the good return, bad things happening. All good, though, for the Carolina Panthers. 31-12 game, 6:21 to play here in Tampa. The best drive of the day, the last series for Johnson, but it ended with an interception on a miscommunication with the snap. That's Blunt. And you know, a lot of people will talk about Cam Newton, and a lot of people don't like the towel over the head. That's one thing. And a lot of people will say they don't like his end zone gyration there, or dance, or display, whatever you want to call it, with the Superman. But you know what? That's all expression, and he's not the only NFL quarterback doing that these days.
We asked him about it in our production meeting this week, and I said, you know, tell me about the celebration. You know, sometimes people are turned off by quarterbacks celebrating. It's okay for a running back or a receiver, but quarterbacks celebrate. You know, call me old-fashioned, but I don't know if I really like it.
Pick up a 4 on the last play. That one thrown out of bounds, intended for Blunt. And here's an example of what we're talking about around the league.
Yeah.
You can just count the celebration.
Right, you got Tim Tebow with his strongman deal. You got Tom Brady's emphatic deal. You got the belt deal, and then you got Cam with the Superman. And Cam was really eloquent in talking about that. And he said, you know, I have fun playing the game. He says, I'm not trying to show everybody up. He says, Tom Brady's got his thing. Tim Tebow's got his thing. Aaron Rodgers got his thing. I've got my thing. And, you know, he always does it with that great smile on his face.
So where did he get the towel thing from?
Well, the towel thing is great. Let's watch this play, and we'll come back and talk about that.
3rd and 6. Late pressure. A catch and a hit. Kellen Winslow coming up big after the hit by Gamble. And he lifts up the shirt and says, look at the tats in the arm. That's 18 yards and a first.
Good throw. Good throw into zone coverage there. Shows Winslow's athleticism and ability to just stretch out and get it, because Gamble puts a pretty good lick on him.
Doesn't wrap up, but
he's tatted up now. I mean, he's got some stuff going on those arms, Ron.
So that'll be a big first down, much needed first down for the Buccaneers. The in route was there, but Johnson didn't have time. Johnson does it. He'll get across the 40-yard line. He is down by contact. Dan Connor with the tackle. That's a pickup of 8. Don't forget, you can get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Pick up the phone, call ** NFL right now. Don't you do that, Jimmy. You got a game to call.
No, I'm here. But I tell you, Josh Johnson doing some good things. Once again, you know, he's not too quick to pull the trigger and take off and run. And I think that's making him more effective when he does run, because the coverage is further down the field.
10 of 17, 166, and an interception. Around the left side, across midfield. Butler with the tackle. Let's go to Los Angeles. Send an update, and Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Broncos following their formula. Come back at the end to win? Maybe. Third quarter comeback starts. Tim Tebow hooking up with Demaryius Thomas. Tebow's 9th touchdown pass against only 1 pick all season, and they're within a point midway through the third quarter. 15-14 to count. Ron and Jim.
There in Minnesota. Donovan McNabb no longer a Viking. That was the big news coming out of the Vikings facility this week. And a player is down. That is Darius Butler. We'll check on him when we come back. Darius Butler took one to the chin, no pun intended. But he got off the field, seems to be okay. Both quarterbacks now leading their teams respectively in rushing, Jimmy. Is that a surprise?
No. Well, it is on Tampa's side, especially with Garrett Blunt back there.
Now looking to uncork one. It's tight coverage, doesn't have a chance. And you know, before break there, we were talking about the towel over the head of Cam Newton.
Yep. You know, that used to bother me. And the first game we did, I said, I don't like the towel over the head. So I asked him about it when we talked to them yesterday. I said, you know, I don't like the towel over the head. He goes, you know where I got that, Coach? And I said, no, Michael Jordan. He goes, go back and look at Michael Jordan. He used to come to the bench. He used to put the towel on his head. Look there on Michael Jordan on the left, Cam Newton on the right. I don't know if it's time yet to compare Cam Newton to Michael Jordan, okay? He got a few skins he's got to put on the wall before that. But he had a good answer for us, you know, and it made sense, and it was well thought out.
Winslow with another catch. Picks up about 3. Godfrey on the tackle. But I think the key point there is, as long as you're winning, yeah, you can do what guys like Michael Jordan do. That's okay. But the key there is you got to produce.
Yeah, and you know, it still doesn't fire me up, but I'm not as adamantly against it as before because the kid understood why he was doing it. He talked about it. It's not being disrespectful. He's not trying to isolate himself from his teammates. It's just his thing. It helps him get focused. It helps him get focused. Good for him.
You see the discrepancy there in yardage between Newton and the entire Buccaneer offense. Somebody loses a lid for Carolina, and that ball's high. Intended for Mike Williams. So that'll bring up 4th down.
You know, they're doing some good things, Ronnie, offensively. They're just not able to finish drives.
Well, that was one thing that Raheem Morris talked about, the problem areas, turnovers, penalties, and not being able to finish.
Yeah. And, you know, Mike Williams is wide open there. It's just that Josh Johnson steps up into it, and you know what they call those? A hang 'em high, man. I'm running a 6 cut over the middle, and you put it up like that. Are you kidding me?
He thought he was going to take one in the back. That's Canaan. Will try to kill this one inside the 10. He does with the help of the fair catch by Edwards. Still Carolina up comfortably. 31-12, 2:34 here in the 3rd quarter. So the Panthers will take over, ball spotted at the 9-yard line.
Here we go, set. 180.
Williams looking to get outside, won't make it. Nice play. Quincy Black. Well, the Simpsons are back, and they've got more action than ever. Go ahead, laugh out loud. Krusty the Clown is back, and he's about to get fired from his job, but then super agent Joan Rivers steps in to save his career. That's got to be crazy. Don't miss an all-new episode of The Simpsons tonight at 8/7 Central on Fox.
And who doesn't love Krusty the Clown? Probably a favorite in your house.
Amongst other things. Stewart putting his head down, and the Panthers getting back their 1-2 punch at running back. Last year the guys were nicked up talking about D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, but now they're healthy, and that's helped. You add Cam Newton to that mix, you've got some firepower.
Oh, you aren't kidding, yeah, because those are 2 really good running backs. There's so much potential for this offense to be just really, really special. I mean, they're doing some great things this year, but I see them being able to take it to another level as they develop with Cam Newton at quarterback.
Third and 1. That's Newton. Picks up 2, needed 1. That'll move the chains. You saw the smile there. The guy's always having fun. Went through a rough stretch in college. Went through Glenn Junior College after coming back from Florida.
Yep. He loves to play the game, but Ron, as he told us, you know, statistics and glamour and glory and all that's one thing, but he's in it to win football games. And I think that's refreshing. You know, he's really about team.
Direct snap. That one was a tough fit. Smith had a hand on it. The defense was solid. Mason Foster in the area.
Yeah, it looked like Steve looked back at Cam like, are you kidding me?
Don't throw that in there.
Don't throw that ball to me. I'm going to get killed. Nah, that's not Steve Smith's MO. Now, Steve Smith, he'll take any hit, and he'll deliver any hit. He is a tough wide receiver.
Newton mentioned how influential Smith has been, not only on the field, but off the field in Cam Newton's development as well.
I thought it was interesting, you know, Ronnie, to your point, you look at him try to run there. You're talking about, I'm sorry, I got caught up with what's going on here. We have all kinds of.
They got caught up too, as you can see.
Yeah, Price
Zeno
went after
Hayes
it.
On the tackle there. He's starting today for Adam Hayward, but yeah, then the extracurricular started up.
Well, Ron, to your point, you know, Cam talked about going to Steve for advice on how to handle being in the public eye, how to handle his money, how to handle the fact that now people are coming out of the woodwork wanting things from him. And he said, Steve is a real family man. He's real grounded. He's obviously been in this league for a long time and is a real pro. And he said he's really been a benefit to me as much off the field as he is on the field, as a guy that I can count on throwing the football to. I think sometimes
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 92, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Boy, and those are the kind of things that just continue to kill the Buccaneers. That's Brian Price. In a game when you're down 31-12, now you tack on another 15. It just kills you. You can't recover.
I'm talking about Steve Smith. Let me go back to that. I think people have a certain impression of Steve Smith because of the events that happened earlier in his career with Kenny Lucas. But this guy is the ultimate competitor. He loves to play football. He's a really fine family man. He is just a ferocious competitor, and at times, that passion for the game might manifest itself in ways that don't look, ordinary, and people take offense to that. But when you hear a guy like Cam talk about how much he's influenced him on and off the field, it really makes you appreciate Steve Smith, the man, and Steve Smith, the football player.
That was Brian Price walking off the field. Not sure if he's been ejected or not. We'll check on that. But that's the end of the third, 31-12. Carolina in control. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a break from your local Fox station. We start the fourth quarter here in Tampa. Ron Pitts, Jim Moore, Drea Avent down on the sideline. 31-12 game, Carolina. They jumped out early with the help of Cam Newton. He's rushed for 2 touchdowns. He's caught it. He's thrown it. He's done just about everything. I'm sure there's a bag of peanuts somewhere down there that he can sell in a few minutes. But we promised a rookie show traveling the country. It has been the rookie show today.
Black 80! Black 80!
Newton checks it off, looking backside, going deep, step for step. Separation has Smith. And that ball is underthrown. Smith obviously upset, and rightfully so, because Smith had at least 2-yard separation.
Watch the arm strength here, Ron. He throws this ball off his back foot, his right foot, without his left foot. He doesn't step into that thing, and he throws that ball over 50 yards.
I think his arm got hit.
Wow.
Daquan Bowers may have hit his arm as he let it go. So they'll reset it, 2nd and 10. Quick one, LaFell. LaFell has had a nice day, makes a move, and taken down by Foster. He picks up 6. Go back to that pass.
Yeah, and you thought he got his arm hit, and it looks here like he did, but look at the body position. That's not classic quarterback position. So not only is he throwing off of his back foot, his right leg, but his arm gets hit mid-motion, and he still puts the ball 50-odd yards down the field. That's unbelievable.
Quick one inside for Olsen. There's a late flag. They're going to get Anthony Gator. I don't want to jump the call, but Gator obviously upset. He was working on Olsen.
Pass interference. Defense, number 24, spot on the foul, automatic, first down.
All I can figure here, Ronnie, is that he gets his right arm caught right there.
Yeah, you see him
on the right arm of Olsen, and that's, I'm assuming that's what they saw. It looked pretty clean, and that looked like it was just him being aggressive. It didn't look like he was trying to grab him. It looked like it just was a product of the positions their body got in.
Gator, the 7th-round pick this year out of Florida International. Nice play in the backfield. More flags. That's Bowers again.
Holding, offense number 88. Penalty is declined, 2nd down.
Penalty going against Greg Olsen. Minnesota Denver update. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Yeah, if it's the second half, it must be Tebow time. Tim Tebow. Watch him stay alive on this play. Winds up hooking up with Demaryius Thomas. Thomas making like Tebow, staying alive and fighting his way into the end zone for a 41-yard score. Broncos coming back. It's 22-21. Minnesota with the lead, though. Ron and Jim.
All right, Kurt. We just started the fourth quarter here in Tampa, 31-12 game. This is a 2nd and long. Going for Olsen again. Nothing doing. That time working on E.J. Biggers. Olsen must be in the plan this fourth quarter.
Well, looks like they're getting some matchups they like out there. You typically wouldn't throw to a wide tight end versus a corner deep, but you know Olsen's not your typical tight end. As you can see there by that route, he's a guy that can stretch the field. That's a really well thrown ball. Good coverage.
Olsen, one of 2 starters from the U on the field today for Carolina. Olsen along with Jeremy Shockey, both from the University of Miami. Pressure, a calm step up, and a delivery, and a strike, and a first down. That is very un-rookie-like by Newton. Nane, and you said something watching film this week. You said he's tall enough that he can comfortably see in the middle of the field.
Yeah, watch him here in the pocket. First of all, you better put a rusher down the middle, and they're trying to do that with Albert Haynesworth. I'm not sure if they're trying to or he just can't get there. But when you look at that replay right there, first of all, he's unaffected by players at his feet, and he's so tall that he can see over the players that are rushing in front of him. And so he can stand in there firm and deliver the ball right down the middle with accuracy.
19-yard pickup. This is Stewart. Stewart has been a battering ram all day and batters through for a first down. You can't say enough about Newton. And I mentioned earlier his issues in college, 2007 and 2008. He was at Florida backing up Tebow. Things didn't go well there, decided to leave. 2009 at Blinn Junior College. He says that was the point in my life when I was eating Lucky Charms and really thinking and reassessing where I wanted to go in my football life.
Yeah, and it was a really difficult year on him. It's manhood training for him. He had to overcome adversity, and it's paying off for him. You know, just the fact that he hung in there, he realized what he had, what he'd lost, and what it was going to take to get it back. And I think that's brought some humility to him. And, you know, when you look at him, and sometimes the media portrays a person a certain way. They certainly portrayed Cam coming out of college a certain way. He's different than you would be led to believe. He's much more humble. He's much more grounded. He's much more concerned about team success as opposed to individual success than you would be led to believe. And I think this guy's future is extremely bright. I think he's really good for the league. Obviously, he's good for the Carolina Panthers. He's fun to watch. He does it the right way. It's going to be really neat to watch him grow up in this league.
And he's just stepping up in that 4-man push by the Buccaneers, delivering to Steve Smith. And Smith with a first down, finally taken down by E.J. Biggers. That one was a strike, a pickup of 23 yards. Smith closing in on 10,000 career yards. Came in today's game needing 56 for it. He's 24 away.
Yeah, Biggers draws a tough assignment here. You know, they came into this game thinking that Aqib Talib would match up on Steve Smith. You know, and hey, Biggers has done a nice job on him. That's really his first downfield catch all year, or I'm sorry, all game. But, you know, you can only hold up so long on a guy like Steve Smith before he gets free on you.
Williams down to the 2. Now it's just mash time. What kind of defense, Jimmy, would you run against a guy like Cam Newton, but you've got weapons on the perimeter and tight ends like Carolina has?
What would I run? Well, I would rush 4 for certain because I think you need to put pressure on him. I think the fact that he is able to convert on 3rd down by running the football as effectively as he is forces you to put somebody on him. So I'd run a robber type defense where you're playing man-to-man, you got a guy deep in the middle, and then you take your 11th guy and you put him on Cam. You say, you know what, you're covering Cam. You're not spying him, you're covering him.
Newton, that should break the record, and it does. Cam Newton is the all-time leader in rushing touchdowns for an NFL quarterback at 13.
That's quite a gift for that
That's
young lady.
a
now.
lucky young lady there.
That ball belongs in Canton. Looks like Katie got it. That's
got
what
the
her name
Newton
says,
jersey.
right? It says Katie.
It says Katie, and she's got the Newton number 1.
Way to go, Katie.
The previous play is being reviewed.
Uh-oh. Katie might have to throw that ball back down to the field after this review.
So Cam Newton now with 13 rushing touchdowns. That sets the NFL record for a quarterback in rushing touchdowns. He passes Steve Grogan from the New England Patriots.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. By Visa, more fans go with Visa. And by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Katie's getting all. Katie just got the equipment manager, Jackie Miles for the Carolina Panthers, just ran and gave her visors and hats. She's got her Katie plus Cam equals love shirt on.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It is a touchdown.
And now she's got a ball that really should be going to Canton because he just set a record with it. They get it right knee down, but the ball's across the plane. Katie is one lucky little lady there, and what a classy gesture by Cam.
And talk about a note of irony. Back in 1976, not in this field, but the old Sombrero field here in Tampa, Steve Grogan set the original record of 12 rushing touchdowns by an NFL quarterback, and I can guarantee you the Buccaneers were wearing those creamsicle jerseys. Everybody's happy. Katie's happy. Cam's happy.
Not everybody. Raheem's
the Bucs aren't happy. Right. A 38-12 game, and both teams here dwelling in the bottom of the NFC South, but a win today by Carolina would definitely help their cause keep them alive in the playoff run, especially with Atlanta and Houston now tied at 10 in the fourth quarter. So an Atlanta loss obviously would be what the Panthers want, and a late flag comes down. Jordan Pugh pleading his case.
After the play, personal foul. 91 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty will be added to the spot of the touchback. First down, Tampa Bay.
That's Keon Wilson. Well, coming up next, it's America's Game of the Week. Aaron Rodgers, the world champion Packers, will head to the Meadowlands, taking on Eli Manning and the Giants. Others will see the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo as they take on the Cardinals. And then some will see the Rams taking on the 49ers. It's all coming up next, America's Games of the Week.
Yeah, we got that a little bit later flight, so if we hustle to the airport after this one, get into the lounge, we can sit down and listen to Troy and Joel. Watch that great game.
Right. 9:48, 38-12. They'll hand it off. Madu, he gets 6, and Cam Newton 3 touchdowns, all rushing, setting the NFL rushing record for touchdowns by a quarterback.
Well, he did it 3 different ways. He went up and over, he went through him, and then he went under him.
Inside throw to Johnson, and I think on the other side for Johnson, boy, that's a tough call now. You've been running back up most of the year, coming in sporadically to run a little wildcat, but now you're the guy, and as they say, everything changes when you're the guy at the starting quarterback spot.
Yeah, but he's, Ronnie, he's played pretty well. He started rough, And then he's moved the team a little bit. He had the one error, not necessarily all his fault with the snap. His error, in my opinion, on that play was throwing the football when he probably should have just taken the sack. That led to an interception. But this is good work for him, you know. So I'm looking for something positive. I understand that I'm searching. You know, they're down 38-12. Those are the facts. This is, you know, leading to their 6th straight loss. But you know, at least you're developing a backup quarterback for your future, because, you know, we know Josh Freeman's their starter, and Josh Freeman's going to be a star in this league, but you got to have another guy, and so this guy here, he's getting some valuable time now.
And doing some valuable running, completes the pass. Is it a first down? They mark it a catch, and it's very close to a first. That's Preston Parker. And it is a first down.
And once again, extending the play with his legs, and yet throwing it for the yardage gain.
Going up the sidelines, intended for Mike Williams. A quick look at the NFC South division has the Saints, who will go later on tonight. They are at 8-3 on top of the division, a game ahead of the Atlanta Falcons. And as I mentioned earlier, the Falcons and Texans currently are tied at 10 in the 4th quarter.
How about that Texans defense, Ronnie, and the way they're playing? They're down to their 3rd quarterback. Okay, they haven't had Mario Williams all year, and yet they are stuffing people. Wade Phillips has just done a great job of going in there, installing the 3-4, and really turning things around. Because when you thought about Houston in the past, you thought about Matt Schaub, Andre Johnson, a lot of points being scored and a lot of points being given up. And now you're saying, hey, we're running the ball and winning and playing defense and winning.
3rd down and 4. Buccaneers trying to erase 5 consecutive losses. And turnovers have been the case in those losses. 15 turnovers in their last 5 losses. There's a throw, a catch, and a first down. Mike Williams.
Johnson's pass complete to Mike Williams. Brought down by Captain Marlin. First down, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're working the no huddle here, but I still would like to see more urgency in the way that they're operating. And it's hard to have that when you're playing with your backup quarterback. But there's a good
He's got a man. Touchdown. Desmond Briscoe. That's his 1st of the season. Check that. That's his 3rd of the season, 23 yards.
I think once again, Ronnie, that play kind of, to me, illustrates what we've been talking about with Josh Johnson, that he's patient in the pocket. He's letting things develop. He's using his mobility to elude the rush and buy time for things to develop down the field without taking off and running too soon. He hung in there once again and found a guy late for a touchdown.
That's the first touchdown pass of the season for Johnson. 3rd for Briscoe. Maybe a little too late for the Bucs. 38-19. Johnson showing he's got something here late in Tampa Bay.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Steve Smith back deep. The Panthers expecting an onside kick.
They aren't going to get it.
Steve would let that one go. Be wise to, because you've got no blocking in that situation. 38-19. Carolina up here in the 4th.
Well, it's throwback day here. There's old Buccaneer Bruce on the flag, and they're back in their creamsicle. And unfortunately, they're kind of playing like the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers today.
Put it on the ground, not much. Daquan Bowers, he's had a nice day in spite of his team's score.
And John Lynch is here with us. I thought he was broadcasting a game for Fox, but he's in the stands. He was supposed to be doing Dallas, Arizona, but
he's getting ready.
He put his disguise on and he came out to watch the game. Sorry, John. Rondé played in these jerseys.
The old creamsicles came out in the NFL debut, 1976. Officially called the Florida Orange and White.
180. What is it?
Toss Stewart. Stewart trying to stay in bounds. Scraping the tackle by John McCargo. Hey, a new guy in the booth out there in L.A. It's TB. TB, how you doing, man?
I say Ron Pitts, third touchdown for the rookie. Ponder out of Florida State in a crossing route. Percy Hartman takes it in from 48 yards out. 3 touchdowns in this football game for Ponder. It is 29-21. Vikings on top of the visiting Denver Broncos. Back to you, Ron and Jim.
All right, Minnesota won't go away. A change at quarterback. Donovan McNabb asked for his plane ticket out of town. They give it to him. And they're up over a team right now that has been surging. It's red hot with Tim Tebow at the helm and offsides. Albert Hainsworth.
Well, if you're watching that game, you're seeing 2 of the bright young stars in this league. And
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Ponder and Tebow, and you're watching this game, you're seeing another bright young star in this league in Cam Newton. So whichever game you're watching on Fox, you're getting to see some really fine rookie quarterback play, the future of this league, and a bright future it is for all 3 of those guys.
You know, a lot of people thought that Cam Newton would, be discouraged about the money that he was not going to get coming into the league this year. Of course, with the new CBA and the new restrictions put on rookies and the salary cap and all that, he took about a $56 million hit compared to what Sam Bradford got last year. But you talked to him about, he said, it doesn't matter. Right now, either way, I've got more money than I've ever had my entire life. Let's go down to Dre Avent.
Hi, Ron. We'll have an update on Bucs defensive tackle Brian Price. I saw Price leave the field a little bit earlier, and I was told it was a coach's decision to send him in, and he's questionable to come back for the rest of this game, guys.
All right, thank you, Drea. So at first, we didn't know whether or not he was ejected, because he had just gotten a 15-yard penalty, a big penalty at that point in the game, I believe. And he had that walk kind of like, I'm not coming back.
No, if your coach sends you in, you're not coming back, all right? And I commend Raheem for doing that, and it's drastic.
Preston Parker with a breakout. Preston Parker inside the 30, saved by the punter Jason Baker, but it's a 34-yard return on the punt, and we've still got 4 minutes left. Anything can happen in the NFL. Fox Sports is proud to support the Armed Forces Foundation. The foundation offers vital assistance to service members and their families. Through financial, recreational, and emotional support, the AFF provides better care and treatment for our military. Please support America's heroes by serving those who serve us. For more information, please visit armedforcesfoundation.org. And a thank you from all of us here at the Fox family to the men and women around the world protecting our freedom. First and 10, 4 minutes to play here in Tampa. Check down. That's Williams. Williams spinning, still going. A nice second and third effort by Williams. He'll be about a yard shy of the first down.
If you're Raheem Morris, that's what you want to see. You want to see guys continue to fight. And you're also happy with the way your backup quarterback's playing. You certainly don't like the results. You don't like the fact that you're facing your 6th defeat in a row. But you're still going to look for some bright spots amongst all the gloom and doom. You're still looking for guys that are going to fight to the end with you, that are going to stay focused. Before the break, I was talking about Price being sent off the field there and saying, I commend Raheem for doing that. At this point in the season, the wheels can come off real fast in terms of discipline, attention to detail, doing the right things the way they're supposed to be done. If you let guys get away with things, then you're going to have chaos, you're going to have mutiny, and I think Raheem is going to try to nip that in the bud.
Andre Neblett, he's all over it. Moses Madu with the carry. Morris, the youngest head coach of not just the NFL, but of the 3 other major sports, 35 years old.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not looking like a 35-year-old after that 5-game losing streak. I can tell you firsthand, that does something to you. That'll wear you out fast.
And speaking of getting worn out, Johnson taken down by Johnson. That's Charles Johnson, who's been in the backfield quite a bit today. That'll be 8.5 sacks on the year for him. He leads the team.
Yeah, you know, Josh Johnson's done this backdoor spin out a number of times today and been successful. That time he didn't expect Charles Johnson to be waiting on his backside like he was there. But still, all in all, regardless of the score, it's been a good learning day for this player right here, Josh Johnson. It's been good for him to get snaps. It's been good for him to learn how to play this game at this level and continue to progress as a player. So, you know, I'm searching for positives, and that's one right there. If I'm a coach, I'm excited about that.
So Carolina under 3 minutes now will keep this fairly academic and work on the clock. TB, man, he's going to get used to this, and we're not going to be able to get him out of there. TB standing by once again in our LA
coming up next on Fox. 2 great quarterbacks. There it is, Aaron Rodgers leading 11-0. Green Bay Packers up against Eli Manning, coming off 3 straight losses. Ought to be a dandy. That's your second game for most of you right here on Fox. Ron and Jim.
All right, Terry, that's right. A big game, as my partner Jim Moore already alluded to. The Giants at 6-5. Trying to keep pace with the Dallas Cowboys at 7-4. Well, I can remember at one point in that division, people gave the Cowboys up for dead.
Yeah, you know, people are quick to write you off in this league, but you got to keep fighting.
Timeout, Tampa Bay. A 30-second timeout.
Timeout called by the Buccaneers. Plenty of weapons, plenty of energy. Ron Rivera said something interesting yesterday talking about his team. He said, we have had to work hard as a coach to erase last year's mentality, the losing season mentality. You know, they had a rough stretch last year, going 2-10. John Fox is out of there as head coach. You don't just come in and write a couple things on the chalkboard, it all flips around that easy.
No, it doesn't turn around easy at all. First of all, you got to get players believing in the culture that you're trying to instill in that organization, and it was extremely difficult this offseason because you didn't have the benefit of your mini camps and your OTAs and your offseason programs. So, you know, guys like Ron, you know, typically would come in and have immediate access to their players, didn't have that. So they basically had training camp to assimilate players into the way they wanted to function as an organization. And so it's much more difficult than it's ever been.
Ajira Tutu with the catch, and that is the 2-minute warning. Panthers trying to close this one out. No turnover for Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers today. That's always good news coming into this time of the season, into December now. It's the final push. They were ranked -4 in the giveaway takeaway ratio. You want to at least be 0 or better as you approach playoff time. That's Williams.
They've done a lot of really good things here today as a team. You know, you talk about offensively, we've talked about it all day, the things that Cam's been able to do. Their running game has been outstanding. Ronnie, you know, pay off the turnover deal. They'll be 4-0 now unless they turn the ball over here, you know, without committing a turnover. Just shows you there how important protecting the football is. But they've run the ball well. They played really well on defense against this Tampa Bay running game. Done a great job against LeGarrette Blount. And you want to finish strong if you're the Carolina Panthers. You want to build. They're not going to go to the playoffs. There's no way they go to the playoffs. But they have a chance to really build some momentum going into the offseason. They have a chance to make a statement in the NFC South going into next year. You know, they continue to see their quarterback progress the way we've seen him progress since the first game we did to this point now. And, you know, if that can continue for the next 4 weeks, you know, there's going to be some coaches around the NFC that are going, oh, my goodness, it's back to the drawing board for us. We got to figure out a way to stop this Newton guy.
And coming up next for Carolina, they've got the Atlanta Falcons. And right now, Atlanta is losing to Houston 17-10 with 2 minutes left. Producer of today's game is P.T. Navarro. Our director is Derek Manning. The associate director is Bill Cullen. The BA, broadcast associate, is Paul Marmara. Our studio show is produced by Bill Richards and directed by Bob Levy. My statistician, Mitch Smith, thank you. And my spotter, Seth Jacobson, thank you. Right now to Kurt Menefee in the studio.